Hello, dear viewers. Guess what? This is Lumination with another episode of Story Time. So, this is just a strange little story, and it's not very long, and it's a true story. Of course, we have some stories that were dreams, but this one happens to be true. And it's kind of a magical story simply because of the characters involved. Well, there's only one character, actually, but you'll find out in a moment. Just wanted to let you know it's a privilege and an honor for me to tell these stories to you because I love hearing your comments and your feedback. So what you can do now is you don't even have to watch the screen anymore. We're just going to tell the story, and this story is called A Hummingbird Tale. And guess what it's all about? A hummingbird. And this little hummingbird is the star of the story. The whole story is about the little hummingbird. It's pretty much the only character in the story. Anyway, let's begin. So first I would ask you to picture yourself on a little balcony or a porch or a veranda somewhere where everything is quite sublime and quite beautiful, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with the world or the planet, except for it's just doing what it does. You know, all the haters are hating and all the lovers are loving. All the good things are happening and all the bad things are happening all at once. And it's just a beautiful spectacle. And we're just very lucky to be participants. So there I was on this balcony, enjoying life and the world, just looking out into space, looking at the surrounding nature, the evening that was approaching, and just a little bit of moon that was just rising up. You know, that kind of in-between phase. And I'm going to admit it, I was enjoying a little beverage at the time. I had my seat all set up, perfectly arranged. And I had done some gentle breathing exercise just because I needed to chill down for that particular day. Not only that, I had my little beverage. Now, my little beverage is just one of my wicked little indulgences that I do on rare occasions, mostly just to celebrate feeling good about something or noticing something good. Or maybe just the need to relax, you know, or just take a load off or something. Everybody has their little, their little self-medication things that they do. Some people eat an extra little piece of chocolate. Some people, they have their things. Let's not go into that. And so I just had mine, and I had a little tumbler. And it was real, basically, let's just call it out. It's a shot glass. I had my little shot glass set up, and I had my little bottle of my favorite whiskey. I'm not here to promote drinking or alcohol or anything like that. I'm just telling a story, okay? So I poured myself a little shot, and I sat down, and I just started daydreaming like anyone would do, just like in an old-fashioned, what's that artist's name? Norman Rockwell kind of painting, where everything is just so, and everything is just a little bit better than average, and it's all kind of beautiful and kind of surreal and real all at the same time. So it had that kind of feeling about it the whole evening. And I looked around, and I had my first sip, and I thought, yes, this is good. This is really good. And I had a little sniff, and that was good. And I gazed around. I'm just doing what people do in these situations. And I had another little sip, and to be frank, I was feeling pretty good. I had all the things anyone could ever want in this world. I had enjoyed so many privileges and benefits. I was unbelievably lucky. I was incredibly happy. Very, very fortunate just to be alive and have this experience. And while I was sitting there, the atmosphere changed a little bit, and the the partly cloudy sky started to open up, and it became darker and darker a little bit as in that kind of almost twilight phase of the day. That kind of, in the movie business, they call it the magic hour. You know what it is, where you get the extended, super long shadows and that sort of golden glow kind of thing. So that's the kind of atmosphere we're talking about here. And there I was, poised, basically entranced. Not even enhanced, because frankly, I don't really drink that much, but just a little tiny sip is a ritual. And it's the ritual itself that's so important, and the sipping process, and the atmosphere, and having a really solid, good shot glass, and your little supply right next to you, and all the plants and the animals and everything is just fine, and the home is good, everything's good. And then I just looked forward. I stared into nothingness. I didn't really focus my eyes or gaze on anything. And then, bam! Within like out of the blue, this little hummingbird was right in my face. He was staring at me. He had his little tiny pointy beak right up in my nose, no more than 4 or 5 inches away, right up there. And of course, I was absolutely mesmerized. I didn't freak out. I didn't run away. I didn't think it was an enormous bug or a beetle that was going to jump on me and sting me. I recognized instantly that it was a hummingbird. And I could see his little wings flapping. Honestly, I don't know if it was a girl or a boy. It's hard to tell, you know. But let's just, whatever it was. So I don't want to say it. Let's just say it's a girl, okay? So she was sitting there, poised in midair, just floating like she does. There was really no noise. It was just the wings were doing what they do, flapping very, very fast. And she was staring at me, face on. I didn't know how they could do that, but I guess she could. So also, in order to get a better view, she would move around, like jolting from the left and then to the right, and getting a good look from her left eye, and then getting a good look from her right eye. Basically, she was checking me out. I kept thinking, why on earth would she be doing this? I mean, I'm not a bright red plant. I don't have any redeeming qualities. I'm not a hummingbird myself. So there was no particular reason. And I sat there and I thought, okay, well, this is a little weird. And I just soaked it up. And I treated it as an immense privilege. And then within, I don't know, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 seconds, she decided to fly away. And you know how they fly. They just kind of, it's like pressing a button, and they're gone. She was gone. And she ended up deciding that she was going to sit on the balcony railing. She flew away very far, very, very quickly, and then came back again very, very quickly and sat on the balcony. And I thought, oh God, is this going to turn into a staring match? One of those games like who's the winner without blinking, or one of those things? I thought, this is stupid. But I'm just going to go along with it. I'm going to pretend absolutely nothing happened, and this is just stuff that happens every day to everybody. Even though I was absolutely mesmerized on the inside, I kept my calm. I kept it cool, man. I was right there with it. I was hanging there right in the energy, you know, that mystical, magical hummingbird energy. And, well, of course, a lot of people think hummingbirds are magical creatures anyway, so I can understand why, because they are. They're magical. They're very, very tiny. They're no bigger than your thumb. And they're bright, sort of like iridescent greeny blue. And they do have variations. There are different types of hummingbird, but the common popular one is sort of an iridescent, beautiful green with this very long, very pointy little beak. And did you know that they expend massive amounts of calories and energy just to hunt for food? And it gets to the point where they pretty much burn off all the food that they collect as they collect it. So life is almost like a perpetual search for food for them. And you know how they fly. They fly like bugs. And so they have to expend huge amounts of energy. Even though they're very, very light, they still expend a lot of energy to do what they have to do. And I knew all this, because I'd read about hummingbirds before, because they're so cute and so magical. So anyway, I thought, okay, I'm just going to sit it out. You want to stare me out? I'll stare you out. I'll go there with you. I am there with you. And we'll see who comes out on top here. And I sat there, quite calm, doing almost nothing, almost motionless, except for perhaps a very slow, gentle sip. Just to pretend I'm not freaked out by any of this, and like I do this every day. So suddenly she gets up and flies away again, and she now sits on a rooftop, quite far away, but I can still see her as a tiny little speck. So I thought, okay, I won. Cool. Ha 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 ha. But no. Guess what happened? You probably already figured it out. She came back again. Within a fraction of a second, she had left the rooftop and come straight over back into my face again. It's like, huh, right, you think you can get away with that? Well, watch this. She came in even closer, even tighter, right up to me. Did the same trick as before. Stared me down, right, beak right up to my nose almost. And then she flipped to the left, and then she flipped to the right a little bit so she could see with each eye close up really, really clearly. And she made us a decision. Obviously, she made a decision that this is it. This is it. You win. You win. It's okay. I get it. Not that it was even a staring contest, but I didn't know what else to think of at the time. And so she did the same trick again. She moved away after doing her, let's just say, checking me out, or doing her evaluation or her study or whatever she thought I was, like some kind of plant where she could get pollen or something. But then she sat down again on the little balcony. And this time she moved around a little bit, hopped a little bit, trying to figure out what to do. And then I took my shot glass up and I sipped it and I toasted her. I gave her a little cheers. Cheers, my dear. Thank you so much for visiting me. I'm truly honored. But I said it under my breath because I didn't want to look like, I was talking to myself or anything. But I guess that kind of spoiled the mood. And she just did one last little buzz around. And then she buzzed away completely. Sat on the rooftop for a while. And then she buzzed around, jumped around from the rooftop, around some trees, and around, and then she disappeared. Just zip, and then she was gone. And then she was gone forever. And that was the end of the story, really. But the thing is, what did it all mean? I don't fully understand it. Is she just hypersensitive and she likes a shot of whiskey herself and she could smell it from 10 miles away? Or is she some kind of message from heaven? Or is she just a curious little animal who decided she wanted to have fun with one of the neighbors or something like that? I don't know. I'll never know. But it's a very, very vivid impression that she left on me. And I'll never forget her. It was quite an experience, even though it was very strange. And I'd like to think it was a magic message. However, I don't know what the message is. I could never figure it out. I don't know what it means at all. I don't know much about animal totems or magic signals from animals or butterflies talking to me or possums crossing my street or black cats who stop and stare. I don't know too much about those things, but some people do. If anybody knows what this means, I'd be happy to hear it, because it was an amazing experience. Really, really amazing, beautiful experience. And I just thought I would share this with you. All right? So I hope you enjoyed this little story. And cheers to you guys. All right? Thank you so much for listening. Thank you much for visiting. And we'll see you again sometime. Bye-bye.